We got ourselves Cole Sham first up, jittering around as Lath of Orca looking to get himself a bit of a setup around the pillar. Got himself the Shroud to protect him from crowd control. Cole Sham pushing in, got himself a bunch of lava bursts. Lath tried to go for a bit of burst of his own. Big blast to Cole Sham, potentially get himself a setup. Gonna be a mad blast with Fire Blast, but I don't know if it reached Coil. Trying to go for a stun versus Coil. Is going to be able to lock him down for a second. Got himself a bit of burst. Looking to potentially catch up with him with Living Flame, but Coil is going to avoid him completely. Last Walker tried to see if he could reposition behind the pillar. Got himself the Shroud, so he's immune to CC. Should be able to find himself some recovery. He's immune to crowd control, but he's not immune to interrupts. So he's got to be very careful when he catches a couple of those Living Flames behind the pillar. Bone charging out? I think that was a misclick, right? Yeah, he feels bad about it. He literally put himself in the corner. It's not like, wait, I didn't do that. Oh, big burst out by the last Evoker. Oh my god, Cole Sham taken down by the jittering Evoker. My goodness, last Evoker is not shivering because he's afraid of the Shaman. He's shivering because he's excited to burst it down and get himself a big setup. Alonia tried to just stand on top of Lath. Maybe try to go for an opener. Something happened to Alonia potentially. One of her abilities messed up. Lath is kind of giving him an opportunity to come back. Sorta. Lath Evoker is going to try to see if he can back away from Alonia. As Alonia the Feral trying to get some bleeds in, it's going to be a Ruder to Lath Evoker. Got himself casted. Mad damage to Alonia. Do they have survivability? Does have a wall, but didn't want to use wall just yet. Just use the Incarnation and try to go for as much self-healing as possible to survive it. There goes them rotating the wall, utilizing everything to live the burst of an Evoker. I don't know if they expected it either. Trying to make that Incarnation playstyle work though. I don't see a lot of Ferals playing Incarnation. Does get a root into Lath Evoker, who's trying to go for a bit of better damage. Back to Alonia. Maim. Do they have the bleeds? Lath Evoker bleeding out. Big bites take him down. Alonia does end up surviving the burst of an Evoker, as well as getting some big damage onto him as well. Whatever the bugs were, hopefully they got fixed, because Alonia did go up versus Bonebreaker, did go for a trick and tried to go for a quick Cyclone, but didn't quite land it fast enough. Gonna be Var taking lots of damage. This Fury Warrior absolutely rampaging on him. Does get put on ice. Ash is about to go for the big execute. I love that animation. Look at that. It looks so good. With that said, Var just tried to see if he could slow him down. Drop down maybe potentially a big explosive trap on him. Bonebreaker does land a full stun. Trinket out of Var. Looking to back up out of there. Just got a shimmering over. Bone doesn't reflect for any kind of magic damage from Var, but that death chakra as well as the pets, there's nothing magical about it. Actually, in fact, summoning even more pets. He got triple pets on him. All these pets are doing work. Var looking to back up away from Bonebreaker. Does hit him with a big stun with a biting shot around the corner. Bone could be in trouble, surrounded by the pets. The pets could potentially devour him behind the pillar. I don't think Var even needs to be there for it. Gonna be reflected, but that's gonna be Var coming in, just trying to get the kill shot after the pets soften him up. With Anhao Gnome gonna be up next, trying to go for a setup versus Var. The Hunter Stormbolt immediately has a freezing trap right next to him. Main unit defensive for the spear does burn a turtle shell. And if he could potentially kite Anhao into a freezing trap, he could give himself a bit of a breather, maybe even get a trinket out of Anhao. Gonna go for a disengage stun onto the gnome. Does go for the trick in this way. Would have caught him next to the freezing trap. Reflect is up. Perfectly burning it a little bit early. Gonna be a root onto Anhao. Unable to really get to Var. Does burn the arbitration just so he can get back to him. Var under a ton of pressure. Could potentially just go down. If Anhao can just close the gap. The pets are doing a lot of damage. Lots of work. Anhao going for a stormbolt, but he's just slowed down by these pets. Chimeric Poison slowing him down to a crippling pace. Charges out to Var. Does get a short root for a second. Freeze onto Anhao. And he may be in a bit of trouble. I think he realized that, you know what? I think it's over. Var does end up playing these boys, getting around a quick freezing trap and landing the kill shot. Wall for Var, trying to go for a bit of a defense, interrupting Zathan on the red magic, but has access to blue as well as green. Is that how that works? Wait, oh my god, Var just ramped up his pets. By the time Zathan figured out what was going on, by the time even I figured out what was going on, this pet just devoured the dragon. Got himself as many defenses as possible. May need to go for a bit of recovery. Looking to blast out Var. I think maybe hit him with a breath, or maybe that missed it. Var has him on the ropes right now. Trying to go for much self-healing. It's going to be behind the pillar. Got himself casting without interrupted. Body shot for a second. Rain needs to recover as much health as humanly possible. Living Flame is the only thing that's keeping him alive right now. Main choose more defenses. Is going to be able to use the Dragon Roar in order to break away from Root. But the slow is going to be crippling. Oh my goodness. Var with him kill shot at the end. Well done, Var. Claws. Over on the team 1, looks like he's gonna be first up. Mad Raygun over on that team. Lathwoka, Painbreaker as the Warlock, and we got Thanatos on the Frosty DK. Alonia returning as a Feral Druid. We got us Johnny Bravo. We got little CV together with Unhow and Reverence. First up versus the Feral. Feral already getting the bleeds up and running. Reverence swapping out to Mortical. Big hands bolt onto Claws. This Claws is gonna shift out over there behind the pillar. Dark Pact available for Reverence. Got him some plenty of defense. I do wonder if Reverence is changing up the build this time around, because he played for like a setup build. This time maybe he'll play for something different. Really fast Bonzo fell. That was actually really quick. I think he tried to go for a fear and immediately started dropping Bonzo fell as Claws looking to reposition. Convoke is able to win it entirely. Claws unable to really maximize the damage. Oh my goodness, forever it's so perfect, and does catch the second to CC. Go for the big Soulfire with a Shadow Fury to follow. Bear from immediately. Gonna be a Chaos Bolt, our Reverence. Trying to see if he can maximize some damage. Quite a bit of damage though. Forcing a wall out of Claws. Is playing the Swarm and Convoke. Interesting. So he's maximizing his bleeds with the Swarm. And then he's got the Burst with Convoke. So I wonder what kind of ability he's got going on. Is it a bleed heavy, bite heavy, or what? Maybe like a mix of bleeds and bites. I know it's going to be a big Soulfire, getting close to about half a shell, trying to go for as much self-heal as possible. Got himself a lot of survivability. Fear by Reverence, looking for another Cancelable. Does Reverence health not looking that great. It's a rinse to follow, doing quite impactful damage to Claws, but the Claws got him locked down in the main, but it's going to be able to take him out. Johnny Bravo charging out next, going in for a big barrage versus Claws, trying to see if he can take him out. Needs to close the gap, gets look at the CC on the Feral. Going to be a Nova. Claws can power shift it immediately. Ring of Frost trying to get set up, doesn't quite get it. Could potentially kite the Feral into the Nova. Looks like he's trying to see maybe he can set up an Arcanosphere and knock the Feral into the ring. Claws back behind the Scratch Pose. Bash onto Johnny. Does he have an interrupt? He does have an interrupt for the Convoke. Nova onto Claws. Johnny looking to get himself a set of Breath into a, oh man, for Johnny it's a bit of a weird setup. He usually opens up with a Polymorph, but you can't Polymorph for Feral Druid. Johnny maybe, oh my goodness, I think Johnny was like, you know what? He got no kick. I'll be okay. I can get myself some burst out. He didn't expect for Claws to just take a bite out of that guy. And little CV does get a freeze on him with an Arcane Surge. Does he have himself a big go? Radiant Spark to follow? Does he have himself set up? Arcane Orb around the corner. Claws took a bit of that damage. CV does get him hit with missiles and a barrage. CV being Seavark. Try to see if we can make a play versus a scary little kitty. And it's going to be an opener. Seavark has a blink for it immediately. Does Claws go in for the big go? Trying to get some Moonfires in, looking for a Skull Bash, missing a Skull Bash though, could be pretty detrimental. See if he could potentially have himself a proper go, knocking back the Feral. Does he have himself a setup? Gonna be the older time getting set up. Claws is gonna try to see if he can swing around the corner, denying him the stealth, but somehow still got a stealth off anyway. Blink for Seavark, big bite by the Feral Druid. And I think Seavark is just done. Oh my goodness, Claws, the Feral Druid. Alonia does get a Skull Bash versus Claws. What's going to be Wall, Thorns, everything available for Claws. Trying to play defensively. Does he himself another go? He needs himself Friends in Region or something, anything in order to recover. But 40% dampening, barely giving him any kind of healing. Claws is just getting bitten up by Alonia. Gonna be disintegrated out of Lath. Wall for Alonia. Taking big damage out of Lath. Lath with big blaster. Oh my god. That Evoker walking in and just blasting out a Feral Druid. On how trying to see if he can jitter himself behind the pillar. Lath looking for the recovery. Does not have a trick anymore for this rogue, so you have to be very careful. Sam comes out before he can establish a proper shroud. Lath trying to see if he can get out of there as soon as possible. Does he have any more defensives? Got his sun down on how for a second. Trying to see if he can burst him down. Big living flame. Glocker shadows by the rogue. Lath looking for a bit of recovery. Trying to get himself a seed and trying to stay in order to get himself a bit of a heal. Root onto the rogue. Rogue got himself big damage. Sleepwalking, but a blind by the rogue. Removing all his own dodges, but I think it's just going to be able to wait out that full root. Stun into the Lath. There's nothing he can do at this point. That is a rough one. Once you trinket against a rogue, when you get hit a blind kidney, there's actually nothing you can do. Stun onto Thanatos. On how going in for the big damage. Full dots. Did Thanatos try to blind you? Wait, full dots on the Thanatos. This man's just bleeding out profusely. Trying to go for the death pack. AMS. Is he just going to die to dots? No way. Wait, you tell him. Oh my god. On how you can't be doing that to these boys. I don't know if I'm main and rogue going forward in Dragonflight. I'm still unsure. But on how, if I am main and rogue, you're gonna be killed before I can get my hands on that thing. Cloak of Shadows by on how. Try to get some damage. This Pain is going to be in trouble. Going to be full Kieran burst setup. On how could potentially make a big play. It's going to be an interrupt on the Pain on Shadow. Does have himself a Dark Pack. Can he survive the Dark Pack though? On how is it big trouble? The pets are attacking him. That Felguard is going full green. And that thing is going to break, regenerate, but it's going to end up punching you down. Oh no, can the Shadow to that pet? Doesn't how get himself a reset. Maybe if on how can get himself. Oh my god, the pet is not letting up at all. Oh Oh my god, this man is gonna die. That imp, no! That imp, no! Imp, no! Ah, she does. Oh, that is so tough. And the paper can just stand here just fine, just letting the pen do work. Jesus Christ. That was hilarious. That was so good. I'm sorry. I like watching rogues do. Oh god. Oh hey. How you doing?